Hello Bookfinders, it is Thursday, July 7th, and this week I read Florida's Ghosts and Pirates. So I read this one this week, not really expecting anything particular out of it. I read it primarily for my job because I am a tour guide on a ghost tour, and sometimes timing doesn't work out right, and you have to sit there talking about stuff so that they don't know that something's going on. And I'm not particularly accomplished at small talk, and so I felt that it would be better if I could tell actual stories. So that's why I read this one, was to give me some more background on the stories I already knew and to add some more to my repertoire so I would have something to talk about at work instead of standing there awkwardly and trying to be like, so, you guys on vacation? Yeah, it's probably why you're on a tour, right? So this week I came upon a sort of an interesting fact that I didn't know before, and that is that St. Augustine, the city where I live right now, is one of the most haunted cities in the country. I actually already knew that, but I found out that its official ranking was either second or third place, depending on which paranormal experts you ask. First is Savannah, Georgia. And then second and third, depending on who you talk to, is either Key West or St. Augustine. What's interesting about it is that St. Augustine has very much adopted the identity of being a ghost and pirate town. That's their thing, and they're really proud of it, and it's what brings the people in. And then you hear about other places that might be haunted, but they're trying to keep it under the radar so that it doesn't scare people away. And I'm whether or not you believe in any of that stuff isn't really the point in this situation. By identifying itself as being a ghost and pirate town, it has definitely very much solidified the sort of town that St. Augustine is, the flavor of it, the sorts of things you can buy in gift shops, the way people act on the street, how normal or strange it is to see pirates walking around in Walgreens. And had the city not embraced that identity, it would be a very different town. It would probably still be an old historic town, it would probably still be a tourist trap, but it wouldn't be the same city that it is now. And I think that kind of ties into what Dan was asking, of if you think of yourself as a certain way or start acting a certain way, do you then become that? And his answer was yes, you would, at least over time, and I have to agree with him on that point. I think that how you think about yourself comes to be who you are. For example, Colorado. No one really thinks about anywhere in Colorado as being a big haunted place. It's not like a paranormal hotspot or anything, but there are, and I know lots of things about hauntings and the paranormal now since starting this new job, but there are some of what are considered the most haunted places in the country in Colorado, and they have quite a few of them, and one of them was just down the street from where I grew up, and I had no idea about it, and that's because they didn't adopt this identity. So a lot of what Colorado is, especially in Denver and Boulder, it's a very artsy town, a very outdoorsy town, so that draws in certain people. So there's a big art community there, and there's a lot of those kind of douchebaggy athletes that eat power bars and drink Gatorade by the gallon, and lots of those types as well. Lots of granola hippies, and because it has identified itself as being a nature town and an artsy town, it has brought those people in. Compared to St. Louis, which is just doesn't identify as anything in particular, except for maybe its high crime rate, and because of that, the city is dying off because it's not bringing people in, because it's not identifying as anything in particular. So there's no reason for anyone to go there, and that affects the town. And when people think of it as a crime town, no one's going to want to go there, and the people that are there are going to want to leave. And so when you go through St. Louis, you can tell that the town is just decomposing, even though there's so much there. There's so much they could do with it. It could be an art town or a history town or something like that, but they don't do anything with it. And so it's just sort of crumbled. And if we bring it back to The Great Gatsby, Gatsby himself, the line that Dan quoted, Gatsby had this identity that he constructed, and he continued to live that identity. So maybe it was an illusion in the beginning, but by the end of the story, Gatsby's illusion of himself was himself, even though it was false to begin with. And the issue with him, I think, is more other people's identity that they put on him. And by creating this image for himself, it also had him looking at Daisy in this very romantic and flowery way, because it was part of this grand construction that he had for himself. So I don't think that creating your own identity and then following through with that is problematic, but it does sort of lend yourself to sucking the things around you into that romanticized identity. So I'm going to quickly respond to some of the comments that were made on my last video, particularly in regards to Nick Carraway hooking up with a dude. One person made the comment that they didn't ever think that that was going on, just that, you know, people get drunk and they go home with people or whatever. And the thing with F. Scott Fitzgerald's writing, particularly The Great Gatsby, is that he doesn't chew the fat. There's nothing extra in these books at all. So if you're reading it and the scene doesn't seem to have a point or just seems to be business, you're probably missing something. Like if you think that the guy who lost his tire after the party is just a guy that tried to drive drunk and lost a tire, then you're missing what was going on in that scene. So there's no spare parts in The Great Gatsby, like there might be in some of these old South drawling novels that go on forever. So I don't think that it can be read that way, because then it would be the only scene in the entire book that had absolutely no purpose except to just be Nick wandering around. And so I don't think that is a accurate reading. And why would Nick, as the narrator, go back and tell about it later? Because it's not happening in real time. He's writing it after the fact. So why would he tell about it if it had no point? And I'm going to get a little pretentious and English majory on you for a minute and talk about queer theory, because a lot of people said that they didn't think that it was Nick hooking up with a guy. There have been a lot of queer theory studies of The Great Gatsby. So this is a topic that has come up again and again in the world of literature. Now the basis of queer theory, because I don't want to get into the whole thing because this video is already too long, is that it's a very current thing that we've had explicitly written gay characters, that we've had someone like Kurt Hummel that identifies as gay and we watch his struggle and we can see that. But it's not as if we have only currently had gay people. They've always been around. They just couldn't write about them explicitly, and so they had to write about them symbolically and non-specifically, and leaving all of the details out, so it's just sort of patchy narrative. And we still have that to a certain extent. Our gay characters can only really play one role, and that is the token gay character. They can't really be anything else. So you can't have a gay leading man, you can't have a gay action hero, and so if someone does want to bring these themes out, then they have to write them non-explicitly. They have to put it in subtly, so that if someone doesn't want to see it, they're not going to see it. A lot of people have talked about the new X-Men movie, X-Men Last Stand. I did finally see it, as being one of these examples, that you can't have your two main characters of X-Men be gay, and so it has to be sort of under the wire. You can't talk about it explicitly, and I think that I might have read something about someone directly influenced with the making of the film, insinuating that that was the intention, but I don't know, so I don't take that to the bank. But all I'm saying here is that it still exists. And as readers, the gay community doesn't have identifiable characters until very recently, and again, they can only play one role, and so you have to see it between the lines if you want any character that you can identify with. The practice of queer theory is identifying these queer themes, trying to decide if they are intentional or incidental, if they're homoerotic or just homosocial. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's really boring, and a lot of queer theorists are really annoying, but it's an interesting thing, and I think that it is an important thing to talk about when we talk about literature and any other form of storytelling. And I am going to stop it here. All I'm saying here is that Nick definitely hooked up with a dude. Julia, I will see you tomorrow.